So, hey, we got Mr. Donnie V here today. How you doing there, Donnie?
I'm hanging in there. I'm alive. Every day above ground.
Right on. Above down, it's a good day. Um,
Sometimes,
so,
for many years, I don't think it was.
right, but hopefully things are better now.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
definitely.
I understand you have a box set out.
I have it's it's called a flash drive. It's looks like this. It's actually a laminate, but then this goes up and that plugs into your thing. And it's got all my stuff on it. And this is also, if you buy this is your meet and greet and different shit like that, all the things at the shows and stuff. So you get to use that, and yeah, and it's got um, my 5 studio records, another whole record worth of, excuse me, brand new unreleased stuff, that I did at home, and probably about 50 videos on it.
Oh,
It's got
wow.
got the, excuse me, sorry about that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think
It
it's
ha
a bang for the buck. You get a lot of bang for the buck.
Nice. Does it have the party time video on there?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's got that instant karma. The other ones that I made. I shudder to say, beautiful things, but yeah, it's got all that stuff on it. There's a bunch more too. There's some of the demos from the Beautiful Things record, so you can hear how they recorded the day I wrote them, stuff like that. So if I was a fan, I'd love it. You know,
Right, right on,
yeah.
man.
So
Well,
when I
I
had
want
this is the inspiration for not just downloading the fucking thing, because people don't think artists need to be making any money anymore.
yeah, it's a shame, man, what's going
Yeah,
on. But hey, congratulations on that song. It's one of those songs that gets stuck in your head like right away.
that's what I'm
Um,
hoping.
yeah, it
Yeah,
actually
hope.
is, and the video is kind of like a homage to the Adam West Batman series. Would you say?
Sort of. I mean, I've been known to put on a cape and go out and fight crime at night. So I figured we might as well just let it be known. It started with we had the Batmobile. We had use of the Batmobile at the auto museum that we shot this stuff at, and as soon as I seen the Batmobile, I had to have that in there, and then one thing led to another, and before you know it, I'm Rat Man.
Well, it's a real fun video. It's a really fun song, and yeah, I look forward to getting that laminate myself. I'm going to order it.
All right,
Um,
thank you.
and I want to ask you, I did see your old band, you with your old band, many, many years ago. I think in the early 90s, you came down to Florida with Badlands. That
Oh yeah.
was that part of the connection, how you hooked up with Jakey Lee later on?
That's not how I hooked up with him later on. We had some things to talk about later on. About that. We didn't him he and I didn't really after we opened for them and after they were done playing, or after towards the end of their show, they would call us on, to do it, jam stuff, but I wouldn't go up, and neither would Jake, so that was where we sort of bonded. But no, it was later. The guy that produced and recorded and tracked the what was it, Dissonance Records.
Yes, it was
Yeah,
Distance.
he he was good buddies with Jake, and Jake would be down at the studio all the time, and it was, of course, it was just myself and Vinny. He played drums, and we basically tracked that whole album. It was a sort of a disaster the first time we tried with everybody, and just came back and did it with just Vinny and Jake. And so that's it, just kind of got him got a break, and it got a right time at the right place, and got the right parts.
So it was a little difficult, but overall, how was it to work with Jakey Lee?
No, it was super easy because Jake was just doing what I asked him to do. You know what I mean? So, and he's a great player, and he didn't have his ego there or anything like that. He's not trying to. It's nothing. It's no collaboration or anything like that. It's just, can you play this? And just reinforced my guitar parts a bit. A couple colors here and there. I mostly did the guitars. I did a lot, for mostly enough stuff, except when Frigo was still in the band. I did all the guitars and stuff, and then it just sounded better. Him, I'm a hack. You know what I mean? It's like sound. You just don't sound as good as another guy can have the same guitar, the same amp, same everything. But his fingers. I mean, I can play, but I'm no Jakey Lee. And it sounded heavy.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Derek Frigo because you know I'm a huge fan of that band he had called Le Mans back in the day.
Hmm.
But you know I never met him. How was he? Was he you know I know he had a trouble past, a checker past, but overall, you know, can you tell me some stories about Derek?
Well, how was he? He was two different people. When he was completely sober, he was sort of I don't know if you'd call it shy, but introverted, and you know, just kind of he was usually pretty humble when he was sober because most of the time he was fucked up, and people were so sick of him and hated him, wanted to kill him. You know, then when he was sober, you know, he'd be getting frozen out and stuff. You know, coming not trying to smoke a joint or something. Nobody even let him in or anything. But
Wow.
when he was fucked up, a whole different guy. He was just the guy that you don't want to be around when you're tweaking. And you know, I kind of would like clam up a little bit, you know. And as I got guilt, you know, what I mean, Derek had no guilt, and so he'd
Right.
just get just blasting out there, and it's not the guy you want around. It's, you know, when you're doing that. But yeah, in the very beginning, they called us the kids. You know, they corralled us together, and we were the two problem children, and you know, we were always corralled together so they could keep an eye on both of us at the same time. And shows, we go play shows and stuff, and it wouldn't be too long into the tour that we'd lose our privileges. You know what I mean? And they just take all our clothes, stuff, and just leave us in our room after shows and shit, and just take our threads and shit. And so we'd go out in towels. Yeah.
Wow. How did you get Billy Corgan and members of Cheap Trick to play on your records?
Billy Corrigan just happened to come down. He was up in the studio above us, and we were tracking. I think it was a Cheap Trick covered song for a Cheap Trick tribute record or something like that, and it was Everything Works If You Let It. And Billy just was upstairs. He happened to come down for a minute in the studio for some reason, smoke a joint or something, and Chip snatched him and asked if he'd play a track, you know, and so he didn't even set up an amp or anything. Just plugged the pedal right into the board and stuff. Because he didn't care. He didn't take it seriously. And all Chip wanted was his name on the fucking thing anyway. So he's not really playing on it. And as far as Cheap Trick, that was there was a bribe for for Rick to come on down, you know, to come down to the studio and play on some stuff. You know, he was bribed. You know what I mean? And but he didn't really put in any effort or thought or anything either. It wasn't the Rick Nielsen that I was excited about coming down. You know, I mean, Rick's one of my favorites, and he just wasn't. He didn't care. You know, he was just noodling to the song. You know what I mean? And there was like one little, and I was like, well, can you try this? And he goes, what are you talking about? I'm done. I'm like, what do you mean you're done? So there was one little riff that Chip would chopped up and use this one little piece, and it says, and I personally wasn't a huge fan of that riff. You know, I didn't think it was, and you know, and that's why get Rick Nielsen except just to put his name on the fucking record if that's all he's going to do, you know, and I'm sure he'd be the first to admit it. But that's how that came about. That's usually pretty similar unless it was just Chip making something up like Slash or something like that. That was just completely making, whoever the studio guy would come in, he would just call him that, and so he could use that name for the thing. And but that's basically, it was just a lot of name dropping and stuff. There wasn't I think the guy from Styx played on a song, and he did a pretty good job. JY.
Oh, J.Y. Young. Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, it's that Chicago type Illinois connection, right? Because
Um,
they're all from there, right?
yeah. Well, once you're a signed national act and you've got like a hit or something out, then you know, then everybody knows you, and or at least they're drawing attention to you. And we were one of those bands that all the bands and all the big leaguers loved. You know, it wasn't, we weren't super huge and famous, but like all of the heroes, rock heroes, Tyler, Kiss, all those guys, they all loved us. And so that's how we met a lot of people, and that's how and Chip's still out there rubbing elbows with different cats, you know, living on the name. But I
Right.
forgot the question.
No, I was just no, that you answered the question. I said
Oh, okay.
Billy Corgan and Cheap Trick. Now
Right.
going back to the party time video for a second, I also noticed there was like an ode to the Flying High Michelle video in it. Um, that somebody asked me to tell you, was that an actual person, Michelle?
No, it was an actual person that inspired it, but her name wasn't Michelle. Her name was Stephanie, and she wasn't like the big love of my life or anything like that. It just was one of those things, and the song was it sort of took on a little bit of inspiration, but it was actually written. Derek and I were partying one night, and I walked to in Chicago. They didn't sell alcohol anymore on Sundays, and it was Saturday night, so I was walking to 7-Eleven to get some NyQuil. They come down NyQuil, and then the song just came to me, and that's usually how it is when the idea is presented to me from out there. It's time to get to work, and we demoed it that night at my apartment, and it basically sounded just like the record version.
Right on.
Uh,
And my friend Chris Lyon wanted me to ask you that if it's true that the girl in the Fly High Michelle video wouldn't put on the harness until they told her that Bon Jovi had used that harness in the Living on a Prayer video.
that's not true. I don't know who made that shit up.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. That chick was. There wasn't one thing. I hope she doesn't watch. I'm sure she won't. There wasn't one thing sexy about that girl. It's like both videos, new thing, and then we had, we'd get the girls for it, and it's like, where's the super sexy hot one that's fucking a couple of the guys in the band and shit like that. There's none of that. There's like from
Right.
some agency sending these girls out, and we didn't really hang with them or even talk to them. They didn't want anything to do with us. They're a bunch of knuckleheads, drinking
Right.
shit and shooting the things. But yeah, we kind of got screwed on video girls. We got a short end of the stick.
Yeah. So every girl that was in your videos was assigned by the record company.
Yeah, whoever or the video producers or whoever it was that we didn't have anything to do with it, and there's I did another video that had a girl in it. Oh, Smoking Hot Lollipop. That was one of my solo ones, and I didn't pick that girl either. Obviously, you can tell by looking at that girl. Um, and then in Party Time, that's my niece Maddie that plays Batgirl, and she's in the band.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Very cool. Nathan Lasser said, do you think that you were kind of ahead of your time because they never really fit into the glam, that you never really fit into the glam pop metal thing too well, that you were, before grunge got big, you guys were kind of like a Britpop, like Oasis style as well. Do you think so? You agree with
Yeah,
that?
absolutely. Before Derek and Vic got in the band, that's basically where we were headed. Chip and I, we weren't glam guys or anything. A little flamboyant, like glam, like 70s glam and shit like that. But we weren't glam rockers. And when Vic got in the band, it was like I think we hired him, didn't even hear him play. You know what I mean? His little thing. It's like he was so pretty and should have spent a little bit of time with him before we hired him.
Whatever happened to Vic Fox?
I have no idea. He's
Really?
the last I've heard of him. He just have a lawsuit because he went and filed his name on a bunch of my songs, and
Oh, wow.
yet he didn't write. Yeah, so I won that case, but I didn't get compensated for it yet. But that's the last I've heard of him. I haven't talked to him or anything in so many million years. But with
Uh,
Derek too, with his hair,
yeah.
there was, and then what was going on at the time on MTV and everything. It's like that's what the labels they do. Let's stamp out more. Let's stamp out more, just like it, And they didn't care about your career. They didn't care about anything. Just let's get a hit video and a hit song. And so yeah, we were came out in November of '89. That's how much of the '80s we were in. November of '89. So we were 1 month of the '80s, and at that time it wasn't just the grunge took over everything. At the same time, also it was a point where all the labels were flipping upside down, and different labels were kind of grouping together with other people and other labels and changing format and stuff. And Echo that we were on changed format right out from underneath us, and then we were used as a pawn in a sabotage business move to take out the higher ups in the label, and we were unfortunately used for that, and just come back getting ready to shoot our third video for the first record. We're getting ready to do the ballad for the summer, and we got the Motley Crue tour. We're doing really well. Everything's going up, top 40 shit, and all of a sudden, after a show, my manager just said, "Hey guys, we're going home. We're not doing this, we're not doing that." They said it's time to make the next record, and we're like, "What the fuck? What do you mean make the next record? We're rising up the charts. We're doing great. It's all over MTV. We're packing shows, and just didn't really understand at that time what was going on, what was happening. It just felt like it was just another fucked up bad break that we got, because we're known for that, and so it was time to make the Strength record, which we did, and it was a great record. We had all the money behind it to make the record, but that's usually just a write-off. You know what I mean? They really didn't. It wasn't going to be pushed. They did a little bit of push with I think Baby Loves You and Mother's Eyes, and just didn't have the same. Well, we did Mother's Eyes was the third. That was the third video, and that was on the Strength record, and they tried going with a whole different route with this black and white and and those actor dancers and things like that, and it was just ridiculously lame. And so we went back to the other guys that we used and did Baby Loves You, which was huge and colorful and stuff like that. But after that, when we seen that record, they pulled everything out from underneath that too, and it's basically then we were notified that we're just going to sit on a shelf, for the rest of our next 6 records with the deal that we had. And so we filed a bankruptcy to get off that label, and then there was a couple of labels in the running for that we're going to sign with, and one of them was Geffen, and that was Kalogner, and he wanted to break us down to get rid of all that look and all that image and break us down, and like he did with Aerosmith, and redo it, but then there was Clive Davis who offered a huge amount of money and loved everything. He was blown away by everything, and all he really cared about was the ballads, though, and so that wasn't successful either. So I don't remember what the question was.
No, you answered it, but that'll lead me to ask you about this. I mean, do you think, because this seems to be the story about a lot of bands actually, that they're signed to a label, they're pushed hard on the label, but then the people that are pushing you gets replaced by other people that come in and just mess everything up? That's basically what happened.
Yeah, pretty much. The guy that actually would go to radio and stuff like, hey man, you got to play these guys. That guy at the label, I don't know, CHR or not, or AOR guy or whatever the fuck he was. He went to bat for us to get in, and then it turned out he was going to bat for them to not play us, because they promised him the presidency of the job, at the label, to put the other guy out of business, and we were one of the key moves to fucking that guy. Fucked us too, fucked us completely. And I seen that guy somewhere down the line a little bit later, and he just says, "Oh, it was just business, man. It was only business," and like, wasn't business to me.
Yeah,
fucking
exactly.
Asshole. Fucking
Yeah.
cokehead.
Well, that's the shame. Ryan T. Russell asked to ask you about your early relationship with Howard Stern.
About the early relationship?
Yeah.
Well, I had never heard of him because I was from Chicago, so we didn't get that in Chicago. He was a New York thing, and so I had never heard of him at the time, the first time we went on. And I know the label were all really nervous about us going on there because, they had a propensity to, talk a lot of shit, and they weren't really harnessed. You know what I mean? And so they were nervous about that, but we got along with Howard really, really well. We became friends, and he'd come out to shows and stuff, and come up and I'd put my guitar on him, and he'd play the last song with his Wild Thing, and we've been to his house. We stayed there. We went out to dinner all the time and shit, and we would see whenever we were on the show, you would see like a spike in sales, like 10, 20,000 records just from being on the show. And we'd see that, it's like that showed the impact of what was up with that. And as we went on, the relationship got stronger, and we really became good friends, and really appreciated, Howard Stern for the personality that he is, and his whole persona, I thought And we went back on a few more times, but like as with with everything that else happened and the rug getting pulled out from underneath us, you just didn't have weren't there that often, in New York, just to be able to wait there. And that's how Chip got on a bunch of times after that he gone with with Enough's Enough Light or Diet Enough's Enough. He'd just wait outside the building for one of the guys, and they'd buzz him up, and he'd go in there and do his thing, but with Howard, I just did something for him.
Oh, you did?
That show, yeah. They sent me, you didn't hear it? I'll have to send you that. You didn't hear that song?
No.
Oh, I got to send it to you. They sent me, it was like a goof that Howard wrote, a song like a parody. Inappropriate lyrics. So it was called Bang O'Clock, about what time of day that him and his old lady would fuck and shit, you know what I mean? So they sent it to me and asked me, I'd been hounding and said, come on, here, you're just playing me the other day. You played me another day, and you're mentioning my voice, and you don't know what happened to the band and stuff. And I'm like, well, here I am. It's what can you do? Can you guys do anything? And well, the format has changed, this and this and that, and so they eventually did send me that song. Said if you'd like to do your own rendition of this song, and it was a goof. And I was listening to it, I'm like, well, I got to deliver. I got to do something cool with this. And so just eventually a chorus came to me. So I added a chorus to it to make it cool. And I sent it over to them. They liked it. Didn't get it. I wasn't able to use it, though. I had to sign some stuff to it that we wouldn't be able to use it. Well, so that's okay. I wouldn't be pushing Bang O'Clock anyway. But collab with Howard Stern is pretty cool, though.
Yeah, that is awesome. I would love to hear that.
I'll send it to you.
Sure, cool. Thanks, man. Ryan T. Russell also asked you about an album called Seven, originally released in Japan as Chip and Donnie Brothers.
Yeah, that was our trying to pull a fast one. It was like after the Animals and Human Intelligence, after we were, after a couple of major labels and it wasn't successful anymore. That it was welcome to the indie world, and I basically had it with all of that shit too. I was tired of the situation I was in, and the whole Enough's Enough thing. I always had a problem with that image and a couple of the guys, the style that the band was heading. I didn't think it made a lot of sense. I didn't think you'd put Eddie Van Halen in Cheap Trick or something like that. I mean, it's just great player. I'll never take anything away from him. He did some really, really amazing stuff, and he was my brother, but so I was basically started recording my own shit, just went into his dress rehearsing studio. He had an 8-track recorder, and me and Ricky, he had just gotten the band, and we went in there and recorded a bunch of songs, and management heard them, Chip heard them, and they were like, well, hey, we got a new record. I'm like, well, I don't think we should call it Enough's Enough right now. I think let's try something else. And we went with Chip and Donnie, and we really quickly got a Japanese deal. And so we tried that and didn't fool anybody.
Right.
So we later made it 7, and there was 2 records we did at one time, that and Tweaked. They were one big block, and so we just divided it in half and put the heavier ones on one and the more organic shit on the other.
And but while recording it, you were all as Enough's Enough, and then afterwards recording, you changed the name of it?
No, while doing it, it was me.
Oh, okay.
It was Donnie Vie, you know what I mean? And, but out of necessity, you got to come back because who the fuck is Donnie Vie? You know what I mean? It's, there's shows, there's work to be had, and there's smaller deals to be had, for, a name brand. And, and of course, when somebody says, hey, I got this deal, all right, well, I'm coming back with the songs. And, and it's basically, that was a lot of the format for how a lot of stuff got written, you know what I mean? It's just the collaboration process. Then we changed it to Enough's Enough.
Right on. Yeah. I've heard a lot about the Thirsty Whale. It seems to be like, I've never been there. It was in Chicago, was it? Yeah,
a suburb of Chicago, Des Plaines or something like that. It's close enough to Chicago to be Chicago, and it was that was the big club for all the locals, the local bands in Chicago that would play. You know, that was the main place where all the bands would go to watch the bands, where all the, you know, it was always jam packed on the weekends, and it was a grueling weekend because you'd play Friday and Saturday night, but you'd also do 2 shows a night because there was all ages at first, and then you'd get a break, and then you do the 21 and over show. So that's 4 shows in 2 days, and when you don't go to sleep, you know what I mean? Because they also sold blow. So it's like I'd be broke before I left the place. I just spent everything I made, and we made good money there. And but you know, there was a lot of shows and without any sleep, and we ended up doing one where Derek and I stayed up I think it was almost a month. And
Well,
played
no sleep.
Yeah, but we did the last show there, and jam packed it to way past capacity because it was the last night. They were closing, and I started tearing the fucking ceiling up and shit like that. And we just went nuts and just tore the place apart. It was a good time.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
this that place. Yeah, they don't have places like that anymore. You know, there was a place out in Long Island that was really similar to it, but Great White burnt it down accidentally.
Oh, that place. Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
The Station, I think it was called.
Mm-hmm. We lost all our fans. I mean, we had sort of like the same fan base, you know, as a lot of these bands and stuff. So we lost all our fans in that area, you know. Sadly to say, it's not funny, but it was kind of like really similar to the Thirsty Whale, you know, just real dark and danky and nasty and same setup.
Well, we had a club very similar, and I'm sure you probably don't remember because, you know, when you're on the road, it's hit and run. But I saw you guys at the Button South in Hallandale, Florida, and it was pretty much was the showcase. So I know what you're talking about. Every city has that.
I think I remember that in Florida there. Yeah, that's every time we'd play there, we'd do all the strip clubs, you know, we'd go out and hang out at the strip club, or they'd come hang out with us, you know, and
there were strip clubs close by, yeah.
Yeah, there were fun days there out in Florida. I remember Buttons. I remember the name Buttons.
Yeah, now it's a strip club, oddly enough.
Oh, you know, we need another one.
Yeah. Well, Donnie, I mean, before I let you go, and I want to thank you for your time, I want to talk to you about something that's near and dear to both our hearts. Looking behind you, I see the Yellow Submarine thing. I want to talk about the Beatles for a second. Have you seen what's coming out, that Get Back? Have you seen the
I'm
commercial
excited
for it?
Yeah, I'm excited. I've seen the trailer and the thing they put out a while back, and it looks amazing. You know, I mean, it's much better than Let It Be. I'll tell you that. You know, and I can't wait to see it. That comes out what, Christmas?
No, later here in November. I think
really?
November 20th. Yeah, it's late November.
I wonder if it'll stream straight to HBO Max or one of those too.
It's going to be on Disney, 3 parts.
We just bought that for the boy because he likes to watch that one Star Wars spin-off or whatever. So we got that.
Mandalorian.
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, it's surreal.
Not Mandalorian.
Yeah, I know. Get Back.
Excuse me.
But
not that I'm knocking Mandalorian out.
Yeah, I loved it. But I got to tell you, to me, it's surreal living with Let It Be for so long, and then seeing this extra footage where it doesn't look like they're having a problem. It looks like they're having so much fun, where you don't really see. It's kind of dark in the movie Let It Be, but this one, it looks like a band that's not about to break up. Don't you feel like in the previews itself?
Yeah, well, just like anything, people are more attracted to the car accident. You know what I mean? People are just unfortunately, it's just the way people are. You know, they get more kick out of, like, just for example, for just my life. You know, a lot of people get more amused at seeing me fall again, you know, than do something well. And that's the same thing with, I imagine, happened there. And if they had 54 hours of it, you know what I mean? I imagine 20 hours of it were just jacking around, you know, just sitting there drinking tea and shit, whatever the fuck they did. And but yeah, I mean, it just totally flipped it around. That's even McCartney has been known to say that he was really glad that he seen that, because his memories were the same as like the Let It Be movie, because that's the one he was familiar with too, and then he was glad to see that. He says that made him remember how good of friends they were.
Yeah, and I do hear a lot of Beatles influence, and can I say Cheap Trick too?
Yeah, it got to be. Cheap Trick wasn't a band I was very familiar with. Chip kind of introduced that one to me. Um, I was I didn't have I didn't have any records when I was little. I didn't have any money. You know what I mean? I would just tape record other people's stuff, and you know, I started out with Beatles, and you get a pretty good education in songwriting and how to structure things and orchestration and harmonies and vocals, you know, vocal inflections and things like that. And so, but I went that, and then I went to, you know, Zeppelin and Rush, shit like that. You know what I mean? I'd only been to one concert. That was Rush,
Wow,
2112, and
wow.
but yeah. So Chip kind of, he was a Cheap Trick fan, like I was a Beatle fan. So he kind of brought that, and then, you know, I got to be, you know, like great friends with Robin. You know, Nielsen, you know, I was friends with him too, but as good of friends as you can be with Rick. You know what I mean? Yeah, you never know what he's
Right.
actually thinking. But yeah, Robin's a sweet guy. I love him.
That's awesome. That's my favorite singer of all time, Robin Zander and Elvis Presley, man.
Mine too. Now I don't know about all time. Power pop, power pop singers. I would say Xander
Yeah,
or me
definitely.
or me.
Yeah, you as well. uh, well, Donnie, it was really fun talking to you, man. I really do appreciate your time,
Thanks,
and
Ralph. Thanks for thinking of me, man.
everything went well. And I'll shoot you my email if you, so I can hear that song, and I will order your laminate tonight.
That'd be awesome.
If you
Thank
could
you.
send me a link to it, with this,
Go to my website, just DonnieVie.com.
will do. And everybody
That's the
else,
way you do it. It's very simple. It's one click and you get it. Yeah, DonnieV.com. It's got all the information, all the news, things coming up. You know, talking to booking agents, getting ready to start putting together live shows, and a lot of fun coming up. A lot of work, but a
well,
lot of fun.
hopefully you come to South Florida, man. You got a place to stay, dude.
Got to come to Florida, man.
Yeah, if you come down to South Florida, and I really stress to everybody, just take the time right now. Go check out that party time video. It's just so much fun. It really gets stuck in the brain. It's one of those songs that I couldn't get it out of my head for a while.
Yeah, that's why I wrote it. I wrote that song specifically for this reason, you know. And so you'll notice it's a little different than a lot of my stuff. A lot of my stuff is a little more indulgent, self-indulgent, you know. But that one,
It's
you know,
fun.
that was the point of the song. And you know, I got some newer stuff that's kind of following that same style, not the theme of the song, but like that, you know, that big band, the horns and all that stuff like that. I like that sound, and that's kind of what I've been doing. But yeah, I figure it's time to write something for everybody.
Right. And everybody out there, check it out. And right under the video is a link to how to get the laminate, DonnieV.com. That's very simple to remember.
Yeah, if you know how to spell my name, it's with an
Very simple.
IE. Both are with an IE.
Right on, Donnie. Again, thank you so much for your
Thank
time
you, sir. Thank
and
you
much
very much.
success. And we will keep in touch, hopefully.
Thank you. I'll talk
You
to you
have a
later,
great
buddy.
night.
All
Good
right, you
night.
too.